Okay, take two. Sorry about that. My dog was barking. My recipe wasn't written down. I was not ready for that first one. So we're gonna try this again. Okay, so first off, I've already mashed our bananas, so those are good. So I'm gonna put my things into my compost bin here. Oh, what I still have, yeah, I'm gonna put those in here. So there's my compost bin that I was talking about last night. So I'm gonna put those in there. I have my mashed bananas. Jacob, please be quiet. Please stop. You shut up. Go away. Go home. Go. Go home. No, go home. Okay. Okay, he's in his house. Hopefully he'll be quiet now so you guys can actually hear what I'm saying, because he's driving me nuts today with the barking, you guys. Okay, so I have my ingredients. I have my baking soda, my vanilla, my sugar, brown sugar, my regular sugar, my baking powder, my cinnamon. Over here I have my bananas and my vegan butter. And I have some cranberries and some chocolate chips there. The chocolate chips are kind of buried underneath the cranberries. Sorry, my dog is being very distracting right now. He's getting on my last nerve, but I'm just gonna ignore him and hopefully he'll shut up in a minute. It's like having a little kid, I swear. All right, so we're gonna get started on these muffins. So we're gonna do, hey, Mr. Loudmouth, can you be quiet? Hey, go away. Go out, come on. Jacob, come out. Can you chill out a little bit? I give you a toy. Will that make you be calm? I can't with you right now. You're getting on my nerves. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to make sure the dog was secure before I started cooking. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys up here. So we have our mashed bananas. I did those already. Like we saw before, I mashed the bananas up, so those are good. So I just kind of used the potato masher. You want your bananas really, really, really kind of mushy, so you want them to be really brown. So you know how when you're about to throw the bananas away, that's when you can make banana bread with them. And I also have my flour here. I forgot to mention that earlier. So those are good to go. So I'm going to get another bowl to put my dry ingredients in. I have to go in the dishwasher. Everything's kind of running in the dishwasher right now. There's another bowl I can use, and my spatula's in here too. I want that too. Okay. So I got my bowl. Let me rinse that out a little bit. It's got a little bit of ickiness in it. So that's gonna hold my dry ingredients. And then I have one for my wet ingredients. My normal bowl that I usually use for dry ingredients is in this fridge with pasta in it right now. So that's why it's not available for me right now, because I used it for pasta, to put the pasta in the fridge last night that I made last night. So that's why that's not there. And then so I'm going to take my wet ingredients. So I wrote up my recipe over here because I was having a hard time using my phone and typing this at the same time. So here's my recipe. So I'll post pictures of that later. I got the recipe off of Pinterest. That's where I get most of my recipes from. And then, okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to get our dry ingredients in a bowl. So let me put you guys up here so you can see what I'm doing. So let's turn this around. All right, so I have my bananas. I'm gonna put those off to the side for a minute. I have my bowl, so here's my bowl. I'm gonna dry that out a little bit so not everything sticks in here. All right, so here's my bowl. I'm gonna put my flour and my baking soda and my baking powder all in here together and kind of whisk them up together. So that's gonna be our first step. So we're gonna do that. So let's get my measuring cups out. Okay, so I store all my measuring cups kind of in my drawer. So I have these nice measuring cups. Carrie, when she used to live with me, she used to like to do a lot of baking. So I ended up getting her for Christmas last year. I got her a set of baking stuff. So these are all my measuring cups. I'm just gonna grab them all out, and then whatever ones I use. For ones I don't use, I don't use. I think my actual measuring cup is in the dishwasher too, because like I said, I'm running the dishwasher right now. So that's there. Okay, let's grab that. So we're gonna do, it says we have to do 1.5 cups of flour. So we're gonna get that out. My cup measure is actually in the flour already, because I like to use flour sometimes to thicken sauces. If your sauce is ever too thin, you can use it to kind of thicken up your sauce. You could just put a little bit of flour in there. And then you can, like I said, it'll thicken the sauce for you. So there's 1 cup almost. Jacob, please be quiet, please. Okay, so we're looking at the cup and we're measuring 1 cup out. Jacob, be quiet, please. So sorry, you guys. He's not cooperating with me doing this today, which is super annoying. The gardeners are outside and my dog seems to think that means he needs to bark at them because they're going to respond. Okay, so I'm pouring my flour into my bowl. So that's the first part. And then I'm going to get my baking soda and my baking powder and kind of whisk those all together. So I need a tablespoon of baking soda or a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. So let's get my teaspoon out of here. So that's the tablespoon. There's the teaspoon. So I need a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda. So there's my baking powder. Here's my baking soda. I'm going to do a teaspoon of each one of those. And then we'll kind of just very lightly whisk this all together. So I'm going to get a teaspoon of baking soda. There's my teaspoon of baking soda. That's going to go in. Move this out the way. And then we're going to do a teaspoon of baking powder. I always keep my baking powder in the back of my fridge because it helps with make your fridge not stinky. Okay, and then I'm going to get my whisk. And we'll kind of whisk those together. And make a just kind of mix them really lightly together. So that's going to be that. Okay. And now I got to do my wet ingredients. So you remember those bananas we mushed before. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So it just kind of looks like flour with a little bit of stuff in it. So I'll put that off to the side for now. So I'm going to need that later. And now I'm going to get my wet ingredients together. So that would be your sugars. Your 2 sugars would be part of your wet ingredients. Your butter would be another wet ingredient. Your vanilla extract would be also another wet ingredient, and your bananas. So we're going to just put that stuff in with the actual bananas. So here's our bananas. Remember we had our bananas from before. So those are all mashed up. So we're going to do, all right, you guys, I'm really, really hot. It's hot up in my kitchen. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Wait, is that right? No. Well, I guess the cinnamon needs to go in with the, okay, so we're going to need butter, vanilla extract, and banana together. So butter, so how much butter am I supposed to use? Jacob, can you be quiet? Oh my God, this dog. I'm so sorry, you guys. My dog is just not cooperating with me cooking today. He's being such a turd. Jacob, please be quiet, okay? Jacob, stop it. Stop. Stop. Go sit down. Sorry, you guys. I don't like to have to yell at him on camera, but he's driving me really nuts right now. So I can't with him. My dog is being a shitbird. No offense. Excuse my language, but he's being a shitbird. So I'm going to do, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of butter, but because I'm not putting oil in there, I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of butter. And then I need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/3 cup of white sugar. So we're going to use the same one we used for the flour. So we're going to put brown sugar always kind of gets a little packed together, so you have to kind of manipulate it with your hands a little bit. No matter where you keep it in your fridge, whether you keep it in this fridge, you can keep it in the cabinet, it always kind of gets a little packed together, so you have to kind of manipulate it to make it work. So we need 1/4 cup brown sugar. Jacob, stop. 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 Go sit down, please. It's like when you have a little kid and they just won't stop being annoying. That's how it is to have a dog sometimes. Okay, so we have about 1/4 cup of brown sugar there. Let's put that in with our bananas and our butter. And then we have, so I'm going to pour that in there. That's my brown sugar. And if there's still a little bit of flour in there, it's fine, because eventually you're going to mix the flour in anyway. I'm going to get my mixer out, because I have a nice hand mixer. If you don't have a hand mixer, you can just use a whisk. So I'm going to get that out with my handy dandy little Here's my hand mixer. I love this thing because it makes everything go so much faster. But if you don't have one, you can just use a whisk or a big spoon. Both of those will work. You just have to stir it a little longer. So I have my hand mixer. I'll put that off to the side for a minute. It's always a challenge to figure out how to have enough room in my kitchen to be able to do things, because like I said last night, I have a small condo kitchen, so there's never enough counter space here. So, and then we're gonna do, let's see how much, a third a cup of granulated sugar. So let's do a third a cup of that. So that's the next thing we're gonna put in. And because, like I said, because you're not using oil or eggs, you need to kind of substitute things a little bit. So you can use bananas instead of eggs. I like to use vegan butter. You can also use vegetable oil or any kind of oil that's not animal based. So vegetable oil, canola oil, most oil is not animal based. So you can also substitute that for your butter. And then sometimes when there's a recipe that calls for milk, instead of doing regular milk, I'll do almond milk in my recipes, because, you know, I'm trying not to eat dairy now. I just poured way too much sugar in my thing. Sorry about that, you guys. Let me see if I can get this down to 1/3. I'm just putting it back in the box because I poured a little bit in there. Oh, good. My dog is finally calming down. Good, because he was driving me nutty. Sometimes when there's someone outside, my dog will do this fun thing where he'll just bark for like ever, even when the person goes away. It's really great. Okay, so we're gonna pour our sugar in, and now I'm gonna get our mixer out, and I'm gonna mix this all together in the bowl. So butter's kind of all mashed up, bananas are all mashed up, the sugar's all incorporated. Oh, I need to put my vanilla extract in here too. Let's not forget that. Probably just a teaspoon, because usually you don't use a lot of vanilla extract and things, so it's probably just a teaspoon of vanilla extract, maybe 2. So I'm gonna do that. Well, thank you for saying that you like my purple hair. I really like it too. Trina, my favorite color is purple, so over the break, I had my daughter help me bleach, and over the quarantine I've had my daughter bleach and dye my hair. So we bleached it first, and it's like a kind of a yellowy orange color underneath, and then I have the purple on the back, so that's where the purple is. So if you guys want to see, I have just purple right in the back, so I can hide it or I can not hide it. I'm gonna put my hair up into a ponytail because I am sweating bullets. My kitchen is hot right now. Every time I turn on the oven, this kitchen becomes like about 1 billion degrees. So I might even open my window just because I'm really hot. I'm gonna go do that real quick, you guys, sorry. My window. Oh, it's hot up in my house. Oh, if you're gonna bark at the window all day, you can't be sitting there. Okay, so that's good. So like I said, I'm mashing up my bananas and my butter, my vanilla extract. It's getting mashed up. Just for like 3 to 5 minutes until it's all incorporated together. Kind of mashing it, getting it all mixed up. You guys can hear me over the mixer. Let's pull my butter with a quite room temperature, so this might take a minute. You kind of want your butter to be room temperature so that it'll actually mix up anything. If it doesn't get totally incorporated, it will melt in the muffins, but you just kind of want it really mixed as much as you can. So that's looking pretty good. And we're going to do the mixer again when we put in the flour mixture, so I think that we're okay. I also need to put my cinnamon in my flour mixture. I forgot to put that in there. So let's do that. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. This teaspoon's getting a lot of play today, man. Where did that go? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so I'm going to do, that goes in my dry ingredients. I'm going to do cinnamon in here. Move some things out of my way. So here's my counter space conundrum here of not having enough counter space for my life. Story of my life here, man. don't have enough counter space to do things on. Okay, so that makes me have a little bit more room if I move the flour out of the way. There we go, that'll work. Well, Rachel. All right, so let's put our tablespoon of cinnamon in here. Let's do that. Where did my thing just go? Okay, there it is. Sorry. Let's put that in our dry ingredients. So now we have two bowls going on. We have our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients. So we have the bananas with the butter and the vanilla extract. And we have our dry ingredients, which are our flour and our baking soda and our baking powder. And then I'm gonna put a little cinnamon in there. Oh, and your sugar is in here too. You have your sugar is your brown sugar and your white sugar. Just kind of want to do half and half brown, half and half white. It'll just make it taste a little better. My mom taught me that when I was a kid, that if you put a little brown sugar in your banana bread, it makes it taste a little sweeter. So so I just put in the cinnamon into the dry ingredients. So now I'm going to mix this all together. So you don't want to put your flour in too quickly or it's going to just go all over the place. So I'm going to transfer this to this bowl because it's a little bit bigger. Need my spatula, which I put out. I don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is. So I'm just going to kind of transfer the bananas into a bigger bowl so that I have enough room to put the flour in. Because once you put the flour in, it's going to kind of double in size. Okay, so that's going to go in my sink for now. It's going to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do about half of it, about a third of the flour in here at first, just to kind of mix it in. Because if, like I said, if you put all the flour everywhere, when you put the mixer in there, your flour is literally going to go everywhere. Just kind of mixing the flour gradually into the batter. Okay, so good, you guys. I got a little bit on my finger. And I tried it, and because this doesn't have eggs in it, you can lick the bowl. So I'm always kind of hesitant to lick the bowl when I make like cookies and stuff because they usually have eggs in them. But because there's no eggs in here, you can totally lick the bowl and you won't get sick because you know salmonella. And just me being a worrier. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more of the flour in there. Like I said, I'm doing it just in little spurts so that it doesn't get too crazy in my bowl. I'm just kind of mixing it in. But as you mix the flour in, the more flour you put in, the more like thicker your dough's gonna get. Okay, and then I have just a little bit more. I'm gonna put a little bit more flour in there. So depending on how much flour you have, you might have to do this about 4 to 5 times just to make sure you have enough. You're not doing it too quickly. I love to make banana bread. Banana bread is like one of my favorite things to eat. I was really excited when I found like a vegan way to make it, just because, you know, I'm trying not to eat a lot of dairy right now. Like I said last night, I'm having a lot of issues with dairy and meat. Right now, I kind of wonder if I've always been lactose intolerant and I just didn't realize it. Because I've always kind of had a hard time kind of processing dairy. And so now that I'm not eating a lot of dairy and meat, I'm not having as many digestive problems, which is really amazing because I was, like I said last night, I was getting sick every time I ate something. It was really awful and horrible. And with my doctor's help and my friend Destiny's help, who's a wellness coach, we figured out that I shouldn't be eating dairy or meat. So my batter's starting to get really, really thick because I'm putting all this flour in there. It's getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And keep doing that until all of it's incorporated. And then at the very end, we'll take a spatula and we'll mix the chocolate chips and the cranberries in there. Because those are it's kind of like when you make chocolate chips and you wait until the very end to put the chocolate chips in. Same kind of idea if you're going to add them to like breads or any kind of like cake or anything. And when I'm making bread or making cake, I'll add chocolate chips in there, or I'll add some kind of dried fruit. Dried fruit is really good in bread. It's also really good for chocolate chips are good if you're making brownies. You can add your own chocolate chips. So this is getting really hard to mix because it's getting all stuck to the mixer. And letting the mixer mixer go for a couple of minutes so it can all come off of there. Get as much of your batter in your actual like muffins that you can. So I'm gonna put those in the sink now, and I am completely covered in banana, which is what happens to me every time I do. I always forget to put my apron on until after I'm already completely covered in food, because that's just how I roll. All right, so that's mixed now. So now that we have our mixture, so there's our banana bread mixture. That's just regular banana bread, except for with no egg. So I'm gonna kind of take my spatula, make sure there's no flour on the sides that didn't get mixed in, kind of mix it in, because there might be some flour on the side. Sometimes there's some flour left on the side of your bowl that didn't get mixed in. So we're just gonna kind of mix that in there. Sure everything's kind of incorporated together. I always do this even after I've used the electric mixer, just to make sure. Now we have our banana bread mixture. So we're gonna put our cranberries and our chocolate chips. You're gonna do the same thing you kind of did with your flour, or you just gradually mix them in so that they're not too hard to mix in. So I'm just kind of mixing those in there. And what that'll do is it'll kind of give you a little surprise, because those will get baked into the banana bread. And I remembered I thought I didn't have chocolate chips or cranberries, and then I remembered I had all this trail mix from when I used to go to work. I had these little individual packets of trail mix that they sell at Trader Joe's. So I just kind of sat there for about 10 minutes while I was eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee, and I separated all the cranberries and the chocolate chips out of the, there's an almond in there, out of the trail mix. Because I was like, I really want to make banana bread, but I don't want to just make regular banana bread. So now I have cranberry chocolate chips banana bread, which sounds amazing. This is already making me drool a little bit. I love banana bread. I think that's why fall is one of my favorite seasons, because I love pumpkin anything, and I love banana bread, and I love to bake. Now that I've been in quarantine for a while, because I've been home since the middle of March, because, you know, I work at a school, so those were one of the first things to close. I've been cooking and baking a lot more to help me deal with stress and just to kind of relax, because sometimes you just need to get away from your TV and do something else besides watching TV or stressing about this whole situation. So cooking has been a really good, like, stress reliever for me. Another thing I'm doing to help with stress is I've started painting. I posted a couple pictures of my paintings on here. I've also started trying to exercise more, so I'm trying to take my dog for a walk every day for at least a half an hour. He just heard the word walk, so now he thinks we're going out. And then I'm also trying to, ooh, that tastes good. It's yummy, you guys. Okay, so we're gonna put the spatula off to the side. I'm gonna take this over here so we can pour it on our muffin tins. Jacob, go sit down, okay? Sit down, baby. So we have our muffin tins here. I'm gonna turn this around so you guys can see. I have my muffin tins. Those already had the paper in them. Like I said, I preheated my oven to 375. So I'm gonna put this up so you guys can see me pouring the stuff into the thing. My fingers have like muffin stuff all over them, so I'm trying not to like touch my phone too much because I don't want to get muffin mixture all over my phone. What I usually do, just to kind of control the pouring of the muffins into the container a little bit, I'm gonna wash my hands real quick, you guys, are all covered in banana mixture. All right, so what I usually do to help kind of control the way that I pour my muffins in, so I'm not putting too much in there, is I kind of use a spoon. I get like a medium-sized spoon from the drawer, kind of put a little scoop in there. Remember, these are gonna rise, so you don't need to fill it up all the way because you have that baking powder in there. They're gonna rise a little bit. So you don't need to fill it up. You only need to fill it up probably about 3/4 of the way full, just because you want to give it a little bit of room to rise up. Anybody know that song, Rise Up, by, oh God, what is her name? Can't think of her name. Does anybody remember the name of the person who sings Rise Up? I can't think of her name right now. It's one of my favorite songs. You guys think of it. Let me know. What's the name of the person who sings Rise Up? It's Adra something. I can't think of her last name right now. All right, so I'm just kind of putting small scoops into my muffin tins. I usually do about 1.5 scoops for each one, just to make sure that there's enough batter in there. So I'm just kind of scooping that out. Sometimes I use my finger to kind of manipulate it. Like I said, my hands are clean. I've been washing them. I wash them multiple times a day. That's something you kind of learn when you work with kids, that you have to constantly use hand sanitizer and wash your hands because kids are germy. That's why I think it's hilarious that they're trying to say that we can go back to school right now. Someone's not going to get sick. Because, you know, kids are always sick because their parents send them to school sick. I did it a couple times with Carrie when I didn't have childcare, you know. So, you know, it's kind of hilarious to me that they're thinking we're going to be able to go back to school right now when there's still all these cases of COVID-19 hanging out around the world. And they're like, yeah, let's go back to school. I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. So the latest I've heard from Oakland Unified is that we're going to do, like, the first month is going to be like a phasing in period. And then they're going to do like groups of small kids. So there will be like a morning school and an afternoon school. I'm still not completely sure how that's going to work because we're going to have kids who show up in the morning who aren't supposed to be there. I work at a high school in East Oakland. So a lot of our kids kind of use our school as like a safe place to be because their parents don't want them to be home alone. So they come to school so that they have like a safe environment where they feel like, and their parents will not, a lot of my students, because they are a little bit out more on the wild side, their parents won't let them stay home alone. So it makes it difficult because if we can't have everybody on campus at the same time, and then I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to make teenagers and kids social distance and stay away from each other 6 feet and wear masks all day. Like, how is that going to work? Hopefully it'll all work out. I got my faith in God that it's all going to work out. So I have a little bit more batter left in my bowl. I'm just going to kind of spread that out into a couple different muffins. This is really similar to like when you make any kind of muffin or bread, any kind of muffin. You just want to make sure they're full enough that they will rise, but not so full that they're going to like overflow. One time Carrie made cupcakes and she put too much batter in her cupcakes and she takes them out of the oven and it looks like one big cupcake because they had risen too much. It was really funny. She was like, Mom, I have one big cupcake. What am I supposed to do? I was like, we just break them apart and we put the frosting on and then nobody knows that you messed up. And she was like, oh, okay. But I was like, that's hilarious. And this was after I had told her, you guys, not to fill the muffin tins too much. I'm just kind of scraping all the last little bits of muffin batter out of my thing and kind of spreading it out over the different muffins so that they're all kind of the same. Because like I said, like last night when we were doing our veggies, you want everything to kind of have the same amount of muffin batter in it so it all cooks kind of uniformly. Just like we did with our veggies last night where we said that we needed to have the same amount of all your veggies to be the same size so they would cook at the same time. So now I'm going to put these in the oven. So I'm going to show you guys what these look like. So this is what they look like now. So they're in my pan. So there they all are in the pan. I messed up a little bit. I always get a little bit of batter on the thing. So there they are in the pan, ready to go in the oven. So we're going to put them in the oven. So I'm going to put them in here. So my oven is already all preheated and ready to go. I'll put these in here. And I'm going to probably do them about 15 minutes and then I'll check them. It says 20 to 25. So I might do 20 minutes just to kind of check them and see what they need. So I'm going to do 20 minutes on here. So I'm setting the timer for 20 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to go, now we can go chill because it's set for 20 minutes. And the way you check your muffins when you are, I'm going to go drink the rest of my coffee because I haven't drinking all my coffee yet today. Having one of those kinds of days. So the way you check that your muffins are cooked when they are done, you think they might be getting close to being done. First, it starts to smell like muffins in your house. That's your first clue. You can take a butter knife or a toothpick and insert it into the center of the muffin. And if the toothpick or the butter knife comes out clean, then you know they're done. If it comes out gooey, you need a couple more minutes because you want your dough to be cooked all the way through, right? And with banana bread, you usually have to cook it a little bit longer because the bananas have a lot of water in them. So anyway, I'm going to make those. And I'm just going to sit here and drink coffee for a minute. So I have been really happy with this whole diet journey that I'm going through. I do feel a lot better. If you guys need any... So like I said before, some of the substitutions you can use for if you're considering making something vegan, you can use bananas instead of eggs. You can also use flaxseed meal or like non-dairy Greek yogurt or tofu. I haven't actually tried that yet, using tofu for my, sorry guys, I'm really hot. Using tofu for my, Jacob, be quiet. Sorry, there's the barking dog again. So you can actually do, Jacob, please come here. Jacob. Wish I had a, this is one of those times when I wish I had a backyard I could put him in, but I live in a condo, so that's not a thing. So you can actually substitute for eggs. You can substitute banana. You can do flaxseed meal. You can do tofu. You can do pumpkin. For butter, you can substitute vegan butter. You can do oil. You can do coconut oil. I've made pancakes with coconut oil. They're really, really yummy. You can also do, and then for your milk, instead of using regular milk, you can use almond milk or soy milk. I really like almond milk a lot better than soy milk. I just like the consistency. I actually put unsweetened vanilla flavored almond milk into my coffee instead of using creamer, and it kind of makes it taste like a French vanilla coffee without having all the sugar in it. And then you can also use, to substitute for cheese, you can use these things called yeast flakes. I talked about those before. They are really, really yummy. They just come in like a jar. The brand I like is Bragg's. And it comes in a jar, and you can actually substitute that for cheese. And I've kind of gotten a little bit into vegan cheeses too, but like I said last night, I'm having a hard time finding a vegan cheese that kind of melts. So I've kind of been staying away from cheese. And then, so when I make pasta, I really like to put yeast flakes on there because it gives that kind of cheesy consistency. It's also, yeast flakes are really good on popcorn. Really, really good. If you put like salt and pepper, any kind of like spicy kind of seasoning mix. I really like, they have this one called the chili lime seasoning at Trader Joe's, or if you like Zatarain's spice mix or the Slap Ya Mama spice mix and some yeast flakes on your microwave popcorn. Oh my God, you guys, it is so amazing. So I'm going to sign off, and when I'm done, when the muffins are done, I will post a picture. If you guys have any questions about food or health, I need to go walk my dog because I think that'll calm him down a little bit if I go take him for a little stroll around the neighborhood. So I love you guys. Have a blessed day, and I will post a picture later of my vegan muffins. All right. Have a good day, you guys. Bye.